Orion project. These beautiful words come from Reverend Fran Dearman, who was interim minister here. She's written a libretto for Vespers service called the Orion Project. While it is not a Christmas Eve libretto, it is written for this winter and speaks to Christmas themes of beauty, wonder, and caring compassion for all. The libretto is actually in Latin, but we won't be reading that version. We're going to do the English one. And Fran has gracefully given us permission to share this with you tonight. Oh, gladsome light. Night is stretching her sapphire cloak in the starry heavens. The night star shows his fires. In the storehouses are fish and berries and the gifts of the earth. The north wind has blown and the leaf is no more. The land sleeps beneath a snowy blanket. Let us give thanks.
Prayers for the wakeful. The sailor steers his ship through a starry sea. The shepherd guards his flock. The night watch guard well the peace of the city. Infants are suckled, the sick are tended, the dead are mourned. Those who tender care, those who suffer, those who sorrow, may they be comforted and supported.
Walking. Twilight is at hand. There are children to be fed and washed and stories to be told before bedtime and a dog to be walked. Let us walk through the fields to the top of the hill. The constellation Orion has risen, the hunter of stars. It's snowing. The night grows quiet. As we cross the frozen stream, we hear water flowing beneath the ice. The snow squeaks under our feet. The grove of evergreen trees breathes the fragrance of incense. The moon shines out from the eyes of the wild beasts. The hare is dancing, his coat grown snowy white. The deer with his branching antlers dreams in the thickets. The owl shrieks. Once, long ago, the wolf howled in our forest, and the scream of the mountain cat was heard through the woods.
Compassion. Sometimes I can't think what to do. Then I walk in the woods. Let us sit for a little while and watch the journey of the stars. So many live in extreme poverty. So many have nothing to eat. They only just get by. I know that life is not fair. I feel it must be so, and it makes me angry. However small a thing, I must do something.
Magnificat. The holy calls me to justice, and my spirit rejoices in my God, that we might heal the world. Holy is the name of the Holy One, and holy the earth, and the sky, and the sea, and all living things.
Night. You send me now into the quiet of the night to live like a star, like a word in the mouth of God.
Lullaby. Night has stretched her cloak across the starry heavens. May you all be cherished warmly, abundantly. May we have pleasant rest. Amen.
Just over 200 years ago, in a small mountain village in Austria, in an old stone church, the Christmas carol Silent Night was heard for the very first time. Two young men, a priest and a school teacher, accompanied by guitar, sang the now famous words, "Silent night, holy night," in German, of course. Joseph Moore became a priest during the Napoleonic Wars. When the wars finally ended in 1815, that left political boundaries rewritten and people struggling to recover. In 1816, the eruption of a volcano on the other side of the world caused the summer that wasn't in Europe, with that the cold destroying that year's crops. One night in 1816, Joseph was walking through his home village at night, beset by troubles, and yet so peaceful in the snow, under the stars. Inspired, he wrote a poem to bring some comfort. The following year, he transferred to a church in Obendorf, a small village along the river. In 1818, the people of Joseph's church were still struggling with poverty, hunger, and trauma. Joseph wanted to offer them hope and comfort. Joseph asked his friend, Franz Faber Gruber, the local school teacher, to write a melody for his poem. Together they sang it for the first time in the candlelit dark in the old stone church after Christmas Mass. From this small village, the music was shared with others, including traveling folk singers who took the carol out of Austria into the rest of Europe. It was first sung in the United States in 1839. Translated into English in the 1850s by an Episcopal priest, it was published in a book of Christmas carols in 1859. Today, the carol Silent Night has been translated into over 300 languages and is even on the UNESCO Intangible Cultural Heritage List. From a small village in Austria, where the local priest wanted to offer comfort in difficult times, the singing of the carol Silent Night has become a beloved tradition everywhere Christmas is celebrated.
The Silent Night was written 200 years ago to bring comfort to troubled people in a difficult time. Just over 100 years ago, Silent Night once again brought comfort to people in dire circumstances. Some of you will know this story of the first Christmas of World War I, and this was a terrible war fought in trenches with rifles and bayonets, that Western front inching backwards and forwards. The Ally and German lines were often so close together that they could hear each other. That particular winter was cold and miserable, and the day before Christmas had been another day of freezing and shooting one another. Early Christmas morning, before dawn broke, German soldiers quietly put up Christmas trees with candles on the top of their trenches, visible to the English and French. And in one cold trench under the stars, German soldiers began to sing, "Silent night, holy night, all is calm, all is bright." Now the Pope had asked for a Christmas ceasefire, that the guns may fall silent, at least upon the night the angels sang. But the plea was officially ignored by all of those in charge. So the French and English soldiers, hearing Silent Night, Holy Night, were surprised, and they had to decide how to respond. And they chose to sing. And the two sides sang Christmas carols at one another, eventually singing together and agreeing to meet in no man's land, that land between their trenches. And this spontaneous truce emerged all over the Western Front, hundreds of miles of it. A few hours of peace where the men on both sides shared family photos, shared food and drink, some played soccer, and some held a service for the dead. And at that service, Silent Night was sung in French and German together. Silent night, holy night, all is calm, all is bright. I can only imagine what those words must have meant to the soldiers on that December night in 1914. Death and destruction everywhere, meeting the enemy and knowing that they're just as hungry and homesick and as scared as you. Having just one night of calm and bright, one night of silence from the gunfire. And the peace was only temporary, not because the soldiers were eager to return to battle, but because those in the high command on both sides were horrified by the truce. What if the soldiers just left their weapons and kept the peace? So the commanding officers were ordered to end the ceasefire and return to war. That calm, quiet, silent, holy night was over. And several soldiers afterwards in correspondence with families, admitting to shooting high for days afterwards to avoid shooting the men they had just shared a single peace-filled day. And the high command on both sides refused to allow a Christmas truce to happen again the whole rest of the war. Now, as Unitarian Universalists, we may not always accept all the theology around Silent Night, that virgin and child being a particular bone of contention for our scientific minds. But the story, this history of the carol, I think, speaks to the heart of our tradition. The idea that all along the centuries, people in troubled times take a moment to sing of calm, of quiet, of hope for peace. We may live in more comfortable times, but our future is more uncertain than ever. And we need hope. We need that vision of a time when we might experience the friendship possible between all people, no matter their differences. The idea that peace on earth is possible if we want it enough. Because it's not the everyday people who choose war, who choose inequality, who choose separation. It is those with power and wealth. The rest of us, we want those silent, holy nights, to share a meal, to play soccer. We want the calm and the bright. We all have the power to call a ceasefire. We all have the power to reach out and offer a helping hand. We have the voices to sing in harmony. So in this time when Europe is once more facing war, may we hold fast to the truth offered over the centuries in one small song, written for a village, heard by the world. That peace is possible. Silent night, holy night. All is calm, all is bright. May you find the calm and the bright on this night, and on this holy night, may you sleep in peace, and may all people everywhere sleep in peace. So say we all.